uh, Dave Lapham, when I did the Bengals, used to tease about having a happy hamstring, how much it's better for you. So I feel bad for DJ Waller. And when you take him out of the lineup, that has hurt Kentucky a lot. I know injuries are all part of it, but it's hurt Kentucky a lot. So there you have it. Stoops, late for his press conference. I'm not going to read into that. About as positive as you can be. I don't believe that there's 1% of the Kentucky fans who think that Kentucky can beat Georgia. I think the 1% resides in folks who just think Kentucky's going to win all the time. And some of those folks believe if you don't think Kentucky's going to win, you're not a true fan. That's just what I believe. Now, Kentucky has played well against Georgia, and I believe they'll come out and hit. I really, really do. And I think Cutler has learned. But I guess the part that bothered me the most about people ripping Cutler, and if you say I'm being defensive, I would say the same thing here with Zach. And Zach Calzada was as young as Cutler. I would say that for any quarterback. But I'm telling the kid's local, and I really like him. His dad's a really good guy. Okay, so I'm rooting for them, and I'm the first to admit it. But my comment would be the same. To overreact after playing that game, and for those who think Kentucky doesn't have a quarterback, you might be right. Okay, you could end up being right. But to make that comment now is ridiculous. I believe in the kid. I believe he's got potential. I could be wrong. Okay, I got no problem saying all that. None. Zero. Kaput. But this overreaction, not just Kentucky fans. I'm not chomping on Kentucky fans at all. Fans everywhere. I mean, this is nuts. Before we go to break, Jimmy, I don't know if you saw this, but this just absolutely cracked me up. I mean, really cracked me up. Now, the question is, how good is Georgia? Duh. Okay, so this guy puts on social media. Jimmy, I can't read this with a straight face. He's on the Dogs 24/7 site. Okay, so everybody seems to have a nemesis, most people, and there's no question that Kirby Smart's nemesis is Alabama, and he can't beat Alabama. He just can't. So this guy writes, we have no chance of becoming elite again. No, wait a second. Georgia's not elite now? Really? Really? We have no chance of becoming elite again without firing most of the coaching staff, and I don't think Smart is willing to do that. Bobo and Schumann, the coordinators, are both liabilities, and so are most of the coaches under them. Wow, Georgia's not elite. What Kentucky fan wouldn't like to have that problem? By the way, as Bobby Petrino takes over for Pittman in Arkansas, he's already fired 3 coaches. His defensive coordinator, his co-defensive coordinator, and another defensive coach. So that leads me to believe he's got a great shot now. They say they're going to take a national search and all that kind of stuff. But for them to give him the power as an interim head coach to fire 3 coaches this deep into the season, that's a wow. That's, I wouldn't say shocking, but very surprising. So he already has power. And I can see Petrino going in. I'm the interim. I want to be the coach. You want me to be the interim? You got to let me do this my way. And they said yes. They obviously said yes. Thought it was strong. Thought it was really strong. I'll tell you what's really strong. Quantrell Auto Group. What a deal, what a deal, what a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, it's 1.9% for 72 months. What a deal. That's 0% for 36 months. And don't forget, the Quantrill family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise to get you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks. We've purchased 2 cars from them, and it might be number 3 soon. Might be number 3. I trust them. I like them. They're really good folks. And I got to tell you, it's worth driving in from Louisville or Danville or Cincinnati, as we have folks listening in those towns, which I appreciate, to check out these folks because they're really good. They're good. The Quantrill Auto Group. Now, we are scheduled for Maurice Douglas at 12:30. He agreed, and then he's got something to do in class, which I understand might be 12:45, might not. I do know Kenny Rice will join us at 1 o'clock. And most of the week is booked. We have fun lined up. And I'm curious if anybody wants to hit the text line, whatever. Do you think Kentucky got punked? Jimmy, I want you to give me your answer when we come back. Do you think Kentucky got punked? I do, by the way. And here's the thing. Am I down on these kids or ripping these kids? No. Do I think athletes in general have games like this? Yes. Yes. Am I attacking them personally? Hell no. I think they got a great bunch of kids. I do. But the part that bothers me more than Cutler was the offensive line, and here is why. You have guys who have a ton of experience as starters, and there were holes early on, which is how Kentucky got the lead, and then there was no room at all. None. Zero. None. There was no room. And do I think the offensive line could have saved Cutler? I do. Does that mean Kentucky would have won? No. No, but the performance could have been better. Thank you for tuning in. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What deal? 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and medical gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank, time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Down, set, hack, corn dogs coming in for the blitz.
Rick, what are you doing?
Brent, I'm practicing my snack plays for the next football game.
Well, in that case, Uncle Rick, stop by any Fudge Stuffing Shop and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Uncle Ray's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Don't get sidelined without your supplies this football season. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Yes, on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Monday through Friday.
We had a lot of self-inflicted wounds, and there's definitely a lot of players we left out there on the field, but we try to get right back to it and keep getting better. I know the dudes in the locker room, I know the team we have, and we can do a lot of things with this team. And we just need to get right back to it and keep getting better.
How hard is it just to keep your head up after taking those legs?
Just knowing the guys I have around me, they uplift me at all times. And knowing the team I got around me, I'm never in doubt. We can beat anybody, any place, anywhere. We just got to put all the pieces together.
Kind of why do you have that confidence for maybe the fans who don't see it, just based on that?
Yeah, just, I mean, the fans are in the locker room every day. I'm in the locker room every day, grinding with these guys. Their preparation was outstanding this week. Everybody put their head down and grinded, and we're just going to keep getting right back to it. We're not getting the results we want right now, but we have all the pieces in place. We just got to put it all together.
Cutter Bowley, right after the game, let's go to clip number 2 and try to put yourself in Zach Calzada's shoes. I mean, he's got to be so frustrated. I feel for the kid. When you say kid, he's going to be 25 years old. But this was supposed to be his shot to elevate himself to the NFL. And I don't know. You don't know if he's going to get on the field at all. And Stoops says he's getting better, but he really hasn't thrown the ball downfield much yet. And if you haven't done that, I can't imagine he could start on Saturday. But it sure sounds like, one, Stoops is keeping it close to the vest, which is no surprise. That's his right with injuries. And two, it sounds like he's all in on Cutler. And I like that. But this is really cool. One of the great things about sports, which has always amazed me, that two guys that compete against each other can actually help each other. And the lack of jealousy at times, and at times there's a lot of jealousy that the media doesn't find out about. Come on, it's human nature. But I think in sports, when you have a great TEAM, there's less jealousy than in a lot of other factors in life. It's just different. And I don't know why, but it's different. And at times it can be beautiful. So clip 2, Cutler talks about Zach has helped.
Yeah, Zach's been great. Just always talking me through everything. He's kind of been in every situation there is to be in himself. So he's really knowledgeable in the game. And yeah, I love Zach and what he's done for me. He's always in my ear, uplifting me and making me a better player.
What's your maybe message to the guys? Because obviously the schedule's just picking up. You still got a lot of games to play.
Yeah, we're close. I mean, we're so close. We just got to hit on a few plays, and we're like inches away from hitting on a few plays. And I think we just put those things together. We just put everything together. We're gonna be all right. And like I said, I know the guys we got in the locker room. The guys have unwavering confidence in this team, the locker room, the coaches, everybody. And I really do believe, and everybody in that locker room believes we're gonna put it all together and do something special.
If they really believe, and it's not hot air, there is some hope. To what degree? Beats the heck out of me. You're playing Georgia. Then you got to play other schools like Texas and Tennessee. But as I continue to say, I need to shut up because that's the schedule. And you're either good enough or you're not. And some people saying, oh, we should go to the ACC. We could do better. Well, right now, do I think Kentucky could win the ACC? I do not. Do I think Kentucky would come in second? I do not. Do I think Kentucky would come in third? I do not. By the way, Georgia Tech's a pretty good team. And the ACC is starting to get better, by the way. Not as good as the SEC, but I think they're better. What happens is when your reputation is bad, and they earned that in the ACC, by the way. Okay, I'm not an ACC person, but it is what it is. If you're good, you're good. If you stink, you stink. It's a pretty simple deal with me. I keep it totally simple. But they're getting better overall, top to bottom. Not close to the SEC, but better. And Jimmy, I don't know. Let me throw two things at you. One, do you think Kentucky got punked on Saturday?
No, that to me, that's kind of a weird, like what is your definition of punked? But to me, if you get punked, it looks like you just got outworked on the field and that you basically just quit and they punked you into submission. That's not what I saw. I just saw a clearly better team than Kentucky.
Oh, I don't think Kentucky quit. And if that's your definition, I agree with you. I don't think they quit. I think they lost their cool.
Mm-hmm.
To me,
started pressing.
To me, when you lose your cool, that's part of getting punked. But you know what? We all look at this stuff differently.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think they quit, and I think they were trying hard. I really do. So I applaud them for that when things were bad. And I do think this is a really good group. So Van Hiles doesn't think they got punked. Christian All thinks they got punked. The way I look at punked, I think they lost their cool. That's just the way it is. Okay. We can agree to disagree, or, Jimmy, your point is well taken because it's kind of a nebulous thing. And it's like when you say somebody has the it factor.
Yeah.
I've never been able to find it. I can look at it and I see it. I know you can look at it and see it. Yet if we got esoteric about it and dug deep into it, we might, by the time we finished our definition, which put everybody to sleep, we might look at it a little differently. It's a feel thing.
Yeah.
It's a feel thing. Let's go to Seth McCowan. This is going to tick some people off. And I got to tell you, initially, I was going to lead with this. And here's my thought. And now I'm going to give him a little bit of love. But I look at this like I just mentioned. It doesn't matter if it's Kentucky or somebody else. If South Carolina would have scored the first touchdown and whoever scored the first touchdown threw the ball in the end zone and hit somebody in a wheelchair and it had Kentucky on it, I'd be ripping that kid. I would. So fair is fair. And I know many of you out there get it. Many of you think I'm only supposed to be for Kentucky. No, I'm a fair person, whether you agree or not. And that's okay. It's your right to agree or disagree. When Seth McGowan did that, Jimmy, I purposely didn't go on Twitter, and I'm glad I didn't. I was going to rip the blank out of him. I was. And not because of his history, although you can't forget his history because he could have gone to jail for 70 years. But I think the kid, when we have played sound, I give people the benefit of that. I think the young man has changed his life, and I applaud him for it. And I've said it before, and I've said it now. The other thing that bothered me, some of the people on Twitter who are South Carolina fans were so nasty to him, it was ticking me off. You're worthless, da-da-da-da, and it ended up being the quarterback's grandfather. Which, by the way, if you think about it, if you sell his grandfather, what kind of seat you're going to get in a wheelchair? Like the best seat in the house, you think? So, by the way, I had no idea it was Sellers' grandfather. It was kind of like, oh, man, this guy in a wheelchair, he's got a South Carolina jersey on. I wonder if he's related to a player. I have no idea until they came out with it that it was Sellers' grandfather. That's really bad. That's a bad look. And I was going to rip him, but I'll tell you what he did. I don't know if he was told to do it. I have no idea. But I really liked his apology. And guess what? We all screw up. I screw up. Jimmy, you don't screw up, but I screw up. We all screw up. And when he said this, you're going to hear the soundbite in a second, I went, good for you, Seth McGowan. What you did was a crappy thing, okay? It was crappy. But you can tell the kid really feels bad, unless he's the best con guy in the world, okay? And so I went, okay. You stood there like a man, and you owned up to it and said, I'm sorry. So this is what he said about scoring that first touchdown. Just remember, you're going to see him on Sundays next year. Scored the first touchdown, and he threw the ball in the stands right at Sellers' grandfather. Here it is.
And, I would extend another apology, but on here I would like to apologize to the fan that ball connected with. I tried to throw it at the ground, and, in a high energy moment, it kind of slipped out, came out wrong. So, absolutely unacceptable. And, that's something that won't happen again.
Wow. I like it. I accept it. Reese Douglas is in the waiting room.
Yes.
Okay. You want to pop him in, and then we'll take a break after him? So this gentleman, back in the day, was a studly DB. I mean, he would hit you and tough, and has turned out to be a big-time high school coach, and I respect him tremendously. And it was kind of like, why have I not asked this gentleman to come on our show? A little different than he did when. Have I talked to you in 30 years?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's been a minute.
It's been a long minute. When did you graduate, Maurice? I guess I should look it up, but
I technically graduated last year from UK, but I left UK in '86 after I got drafted by the Bears in '86, so it was '85 season.
Okay, so 85, I was in Pittsburgh. So when I knew you, it was in your younger days here. And I do remember interviewing you, not a ton, but I remember interviewing you. You had a great career in the NFL for a long time. And when I saw your name, I went, why have I not asked him to come on? And I went on your Twitter. You tweeted something, and I went on your feed. And I compliment you about all the good things religiously or about people that you push on Twitter. I compliment you tremendously for that. And that made me want to have you come on even more because of that. And how many state championships have you won as a head coach in high school?
I've only won one, but I've been to seven as a head coach and one as a player but I've been blessed, man. We've run against every time that we've lost. We've never lost to a regular team. We've always lost to a private school that has unlimited resources. You know what I mean? So
it burns you a little bit. It's kind of like in the state of Kentucky, where St. X and Trinity, and they win a ton, and more power to them. But they definitely have an advantage over the public schools. It's not even close. So because I know you're familiar with Kentucky, you're saying it's the same kind of deal.
Same kind of deal. It's like man, when we play regular teams that have resources like ours, we're good. But when we have to go against the big boys with the money players, it's a little different. But we beat some, don't get me wrong, we beat some, but in the final game, it's always, we're like 7 points short. Lost by 10 is the most we've ever lost by. But they've always been highly contested games, but we're going to get over the hump this year, I believe.
Okay, so did you ever think about coaching college, or you're so set, you've been doing it a long time, it's too late to switch, that kind of thing, or you really like affecting kids, which I believe you can do more in high school than you can in college. I'm not saying you can't in college, but it's a different deal, as you know.
I think that God, for me, what God showed me, that I was there to help them get to that level, because I had a high school coach named John Butler, God rest his soul, and he told our junior college coach that if you want Tony, you got to take Maurice. And if he didn't stick his neck out for me, I probably, God knows where I would have been. And that guy stuck his neck out for me to go to junior college. And after me getting him sticking his neck out, God put me in a position where I was able to go in, and I ended up starting as a freshman after the first game. And I go on to be an All-American and everything off of that guy just sticking his neck out for me. And so I think I'm that person that God uses in that capacity to help them high school guys to get to that next level and help them to get the degrees and help them to push them forward so they can have some better opportunities at life.
Maurice, Douglas, Mo, kind enough to join us for a couple of minutes. And you didn't have an easy road. Muncie, Indiana, and you went to junior college. And might I say that the junior college you were at probably didn't have Taj Mahal facilities and stuff?
No, Coffeyville, Kansas did not have them at the time. They've upgraded a whole lot now because they've had, I mean, Coach Dick Foster, God rest his soul, he had a great program. Mike Rozier went there. They've had some guys that played in the NFL, big time guys, and they've all donated back in, and they've had some great success in the past. And so now the facilities are second to none on the junior college level.
Well, that's nice to hear, because you can save a lot of kids. So you think that the community college actually saved you, and now it's your job to try to help and save some other kids. Do I read that right in you?
Yes, sir. I think part of God's purpose for me was to help me to use that thing to catapult and push guys in the right direction, in a different direction, in which sometimes it takes us a longer time to figure out where our giftings are at. And I think for me, God used me going through junior college to go through that hard route so I could be an advocate for those guys who need to go the hard route. But hopefully we won't have to have that route to take. We'll have an easier route where you can go in. I got guys in the Ivy League. I got a guy at Princeton. I mean, not Princeton, but Harvard. I got a guy at Dartmouth. Then I got guys from all over. I got guys at junior college now in different capacities. But I think I'm just a voice for those guys to be able to have an outlet for somebody to speak on their behalf.
Yeah, anybody watching on YouTube now with your glasses, you look more scholarly than you did a tough football player back in the day.
Yeah, I still can pull them off and let them.
Okay, put them back on. I have to take a quick break. Something's going on. Can you hang with me a minute?
I got you, buddy.
Thank you. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrell family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
My name is Terry Schultz, CEO for the Rutherford County Area Habitat for Humanity. Republic Bank has really been a game changer. They have invested not only financially, but time to really listen so that we can move our mission forward. What I like about Republic Bank is they've come in asking, what are your needs? And I don't know that you get that any other place.
That's Terry's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Down, set, hike. Corn dogs coming in for the blitz.
Rick, what are you doing?
Brent, I'm practicing my snack plays for the next football game.
Well, in that case, Uncle Rick, stop by any Fudge Stop and Shop and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Uncle Ray's potato chips, 8-ounce bags, 2 for $6.
Don't get sidelined without your supplies this football season. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Don't forget about it's your season and your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown could bring you closer to a payout at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime TV props, or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. Don't forget about the Bengals tonight at Denver, and the odds, they're underdogs by 7 points. I guess somebody thinks their offense is going to wake up, or it can't be as bad as it was against Minnesota. That was horrendous. I'm not giving you advice. I will watch the game, though. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code LEXSports. That's code LEXSports to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus. Kentucky only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offered for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer. Maurice Douglas, kind enough to join us. Can you repeat that backwards?
There's no way in the world. You are good, man. You are good. I think do something for me, man.
You would think I'd have it memorized by now, but I don't.
Man, that's good, man. Oh, that's
Maurice Douglas Sr., kind enough to join us. Did you watch Kentucky over the weekend?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched about the first quarter. Then I watched a little bit, and then it kind of got crazy.
So you gave up. What do you think of the program and the team where it is right now?
They got some talent. They got some players. They just still have to get some more. I mean, the defense, they're trying. You can't have that many turnovers and expect to go out there in the SEC and win a game. You have that many turnovers in the first half or for the game. 4 turnovers, I don't care who you're playing. It's tough. You can do that against a MAC team. You're going to have a tough time with them. But definitely against the SEC team, it's going to be rough.
Is it impossible to win the SEC championship at Kentucky?
The resources are there. You still got to get Jimmys and Joes, though. Still got to get Jimmys and Joes. They got some players, but they're good with the first level guys or their first tier players. But when you go to the backups, that's where you need that. You see that when you have to give a guy a break, you see a kid come in and he's good, but is he SEC level? You know what I mean? I think you can. I just think you're still going to have to pour in more resources. And I know they got a ton. They got just distributed a little bit better. But it's just tough, man. It's a tough call.
Isn't that Maurice Douglas Sr. kind of like when you were here too? And even before you got here, I can't tell you how many times when I was doing TV back in the day where I thought that Kentucky's first 22 were probably better than a lot of people thought. But when they had injuries and backups, there was a boom. Whereas at Alabama, it was about 4 years ago when kids really started transferring more. They lost 5 offensive linemen. 4 of them were like All-Americans. But they were behind. Now, if somebody got hurt, even though they wouldn't have been ready, and they didn't have experience, but at least you got a kid who was, a 5-star. There were 4 5-stars that left, and the other one actually came to Kentucky because he was a Kentucky boy, neither here nor there. And so at least if they're going to make mistakes, they're physically more gifted in all probability than the Kentucky backups. Do you think that's fair?
I think that's where we're at now. You're going to have to deal with it. And hopefully we'll be able to get some of those kids who may have been maybe a little upset with their playing time at the school that they're presently at through the transfer portal. But you got to get good hits in the portal. You know what I mean? You got to be really selective at that. Some kids are not there yet, and they're still going to need time to develop. But I think it's possible, but still you're gonna have to have somebody out there. It hurt losing Big Dog, you know what I mean? You're gonna have somebody that's gonna have to be able to go and check the portal guys out and make sure you got the right guys for your system and be able to implement those guys into it.
For a guy that was a 8th round draft choice in '86, you had a hell of a career. You're not the only one as an 8th rounder to play as long as you did, but the number percentage-wise of 8th rounders playing as long as you did, very, very small. I don't know the percentage, but I've followed football since way before you were born, and I know that's not true. So that's a compliment to you. But let's go to your Kentucky career. What's your number one highlight? What's your number one frustration?
Number one highlight would be first play I'm in against, I think it was Bowling Green. My first game at UK. First of all, I had messed up in the summer, and I had to take a correspondence class online before I could even practice at UK. And so I had missed like most of the whole junior year of training camp, and I got that last week before we got started to play. I'm from Indiana, and we play against Indiana, and I don't get to play, and I call my grandma. I'm like, Granny, I'm ready to go. And she's like, baby, you just wait on God. What you gonna do? And I was like, Granny, I just want to leave here. She's like, you're not coming home. I'm asking her for money to get home. She's like, no, just trust God. And that week they let me play. The first play I'm out there in the game, I get an interception. And then it's on. From that point on, then the next week I start against LSU. I get an interception in the first drive against Raji McGee. I get an interception the first series. I run it down to like the 3-yard line. I get knocked out of bounds. But that began my whole UK career. So I would just say that first interception on the first play I was out there.
So you're saying that your grandmother gave you as good of advice as you can get, and your grandmother also helped change your life.
My grandma definitely helped change my life because she was the one who I call it the fervent prayers of the righteous avail much. My grandma was a woman that went to church and a strong believer in Jesus and everything. And she was trying to instill that in me back then. I just didn't realize it until I became a 31-year-old man and I had an encounter with Jesus. But it was her seeds that she had sown and her through her fervent prayer for me that God honored that and allowed me to be able to go to the NFL and be able to do the things that I was able to do because a part of his purpose involved those things that he needed her to pray for me.
You know, when you went to the Giants, I was rooting for you because I grew up a Giants fan.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You know what? I liked the Giants. It was different because, first of all, I had been in Chicago for 9 years, and I was wild as I don't know what. And then my last year, I had this encounter with Jesus on March the 10th, 1995. After I just had my best season in the NFL that year prior to, and now I meet this guy named Jesus, and my whole world changes. And now I'm going to parties and clubs. I'm going to church. I'm going to these Bible studies. I'm going to do these conferences. And this transformation had to take place. And I go to New York, and I'm in New York, big city of dreams. 42nd Street. It's all types of stuff going on down here. But I have to live a life that's totally different than what I used to live. So that I lived in a hotel my whole first year there. So I'm doing everything. I'm trying my best not to do anything that I wouldn't do that I had done in the past. So this transformation was a real difficult time that first year, but God gave me some good places to go to church and fellowship at. So it ended up working out, but I really like Chicago a lot better. I believe I was supposed to stay in Chicago. It was a part of my pride. And that's why I try to talk to my kids about that. Your pride can take you where your testimony can't, or where God can't. God can keep you anywhere. But I had to go to New York to find out that, man, was it really worth the money that I went there for? You know what I mean? I went there for $1 million more, but really was it worth it? When I lost my whole church family and all the support system that I had in Chicago, they were all in Chicago. When I go to New York and now I'm by myself, I'm out here like the lone wolf, and you can't be a lone wolf in New York by yourself. You got to have a good accountability group, and so God ended up putting those people around me, but it was a whole lot harder. It would have been a lot easier in Chicago.
Two quick things. That's a great answer, by the way. Give me two short answers.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate your time, and hopefully we can get you to come back later in the season talking about Kentucky or something. If you can, I know you got a crazy schedule.
Good, but today was just a real crazy day.
I understand. So this is very serious now. The most serious thing I'm going to ask you. Ready?
Yes, sir.
What's better, Chicago pizza or New York pizza?
Oh, I'm going Windy City.
Oh no! Get off my phone.
I like New York, but I'm going Windy City. Now they both have really good places.
They're both really good. They're both really good.
And and with both of them, I got to go with a fork on them. I got to go with a fork because I need to get it all. You know, I get it all. I don't want to miss anything.
I once ate the second time we went to Chicago and we got pizza, 6 slices of the deep dish, and I couldn't move for a whole day.
I bet. Oh, it's the best though.
and after one, I was full. And my son said, "What are you doing, Dad?" Of course, I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, as long as you're crashing, as long as you got a good place to lay your head and a good television to set in front of you, it's good time. It's a good time.
Read the morning paper next morning. Oh, let's leave it alone. How's your son doing? He came to Kentucky. He left. Give us a quick update how he's doing.
He's doing good, man. He's actually just joined my staff this year. He played last year. He finished playing last year at Allen College in Columbia, South Carolina. Graduated down there. Technically, he graduates in December. He only has one class, but he is my defensive backs coach with the varsity kids, and he's my defensive coordinator for my JV team. And this is his first year. Last spring he did he was coaching as the safeties coach at Allen. And then after the season, after that first semester was over, he came home for the summer and was like, "Dad, man, I don't have no me time doing this college stuff." They're like, "Man, we're there from 5 a.m., 4:30 until like 9 at night. And then there's nothing for," he's like, "I got to be up in the morning early." He's like, I want to do what you do. And so I'm like, "You can do that. I told you you're going to be a good coach," because he's been training with my guys in the summer with me and a bunch of my other kids. And so he now works at with mental health kids, with the mental health children at Northridge Middle School in Dayton. Wow. He's doing that with them. And then when he gets off of work in Dayton, he comes back to Springfield and he's working with us, man, and doing really well. Then my daughter, she's a graduating senior down at UK. She'll graduate in November, and she works with football recruiting department. She's worked there for the last 4 years at UK, and doing great things. And we got to go to LSU in November to see if about the grad program down there they got an offer down there for possibly to be on their football staff down there as well. So we'll see what she wants to do. I personally would love her to stay closer to me in Ohio, but she wants to go down to Baton Rouge because that was her first place that she applied for grad school.
Want to keep your kids close. It's funny how we all change. Hey, after all these years, bless you. Really nice catching up. Appreciate your time. Really happy for your success. And maybe before the end of the season, we can just talk a little football again. And I understand your crazy schedule. It was really nice catching up. I wish you nothing but the best.
Appreciate it, Alan. Appreciate it, man. Congratulations on everything, man, and all your success. I'll check you guys out. See what you got on there with Dermani and all these different guys, the UK guys, Chris Chenault and them. You're doing good stuff, man. Appreciate you having me on today.
Back at you. We'll do it again. Really, really fun. Thanks, Maurice. Maurice Douglas Sr., Studley, NFL player, Studley at UK. Absolutely unequivocally wonderful. Let's not take a break. Let's go right to Kenny Rice, as we took a break earlier, as we're doing a little juggling. Kenny sent me a message, said, "Hello." I'm sure Kenny will be surprised when I tell him, I don't know what happened. I'm just, how did that happen? As Jimmy is putting him in. Maurice Douglas Sr., man, he was a stud. He really was. I mean, you talk about a man who grew up the hard way. Kenny remembers it, I'm sure. You got Kenny in, or should we take a break?
He's in the in-between right now. He's joining, but it's just been joining for a couple seconds.
Okay, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Terry Page, a great licensed massage therapist. Check her out. Write this down, naturalhealingandpainrelief.com. Go to that site, naturalhealingandpainrelief.com, and you get a phone appointment. Tell her what you need. Set up an appointment. She's been spectacular for me in Butler, Kentucky today and tomorrow. Then in Lexington the rest of the week, 859-373-0578, 859-373-0578. All right, Kenny's in. Let's go to Mr. Rice. It's amazing. I'm a little late today. How are you, Kenny?
Mr. Cutler, I'm good. Good to be with you, my friend.
And we just talked to somebody who I know you remember, and I hadn't talked to him, Kenny, in forever. Matter of fact, I don't think I talked to him since 84. Maurice Douglas Sr.
Yeah. I was going to say, it'd be probably in that ballpark for me, too, I would say.
Yeah.
Then we get to that stage, and, I know sometimes because you're getting older, I'm getting older, but it's also, so many things happen in your life and the people you meet and you talk to and all this and that. And you go, didn't that thing happen like 10 years ago? You go, no, it's 20 years ago.
Yep.
And, and vice versa. Sometimes, why, that's a long time ago. No, it's about 7-8 years ago. So I guess it depends. My friend Tom Durkin, the great race caller, his theory is, that your brain is like a computer. And as you get older, it gets compressed that you've taken in so much information. I counter that, though, and I say, you know what? When you're younger, things are more exciting for you. Let's go to UK football. Wasn't it more exciting when Mark first got here and everybody's excited and after a while things get stale in life, or you don't focus on it as much. At least I don't. I used to be able to tell you all the batting. I used to be able to tell you almost every lineup in the major leagues, really. And now in the last few weeks, I picked up on a few, outside the Reds because you see them all the time. But because it doesn't captivate me as it did when I was younger.
That's funny you say that, because I talked to some guys who have long since retired and some are not with us. And if I start mentioning names, not going to, I'm not hiding it. It's not important.
Yeah.
But these guys as well. And 3 or 4 of those guys, they've been longtime writers.
Yeah.
Told me when they hit 50, for some reason, winning or losing games didn't mean that much for them anymore. And it became more like a job to them. And that was true for me too, except I was aware of it, and that helped me keep my enthusiasm. No, and at 62, I had to counsel myself almost every day to keep my enthusiasm, because I was tired of doing it. I loved it, but I was tired of doing it. But there is something to age where you're saying, okay, Yankees lost. Well, I'm a Yankee fan. Okay, next year, and move on. And that happened to me when I was 12. No.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. When you were a kid, it was around this time of the year, 60 years ago, that my dad took me to my first major league game in September of 24, September 24th, a long time ago. And, we went to games up until about 2 years ago. And so back then I knew the lineups. My Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, have been my all-time favorite team, still are. But I knew like everybody's lineup. Of course, then again, there's only 20 teams back then. So it wasn't hard to remember. I get around most of them. But, back then, everything was exciting and new. And I remember the first time I went to Crosley Field, and you probably had the same experience going to Yankee Stadium, the smell of the grass and just how fresh everything was. And even though, there was some wear and tear at that time on Crosley, there was still, it was just different, it's things you don't see when you're a kid. And then you get to see it for the first time in person, and it's all in color, no more black and white TV set. It's kind of fascinating. The same way when I first went to Memorial Coliseum when Adolph Rupp was coaching, and I saw Cotton Nash play. And then later on, I got to see Rupp's Runts play Riley and Dampier and those guys. That was exciting times. And then after a while, it's still good to watch them, but it's kind of like, yeah, okay. Number one, Alan, they all come and go so quick, I don't know who's who. You don't follow a 4-year career or a 3-year career like you used to.
Times have changed. Okay, Kenny. None of this nice guy stuff. We're going to get right to it. You ready?
Yeah.
Dig in, brother. Kenny Rice, NBC Sports, 1,000 years ago, sports director at Channel 36. Not true, only 500 years ago. You are now the boss of Kentucky. You are the boss of Kentucky. The president kisses your you-know-what, does anything you want. The board will do anything that you want. Are you preparing to raise $38 million to pay off a coach and to look for a new coach? Well, yes or no? It's not a maybe. Now, they could win 8 more games and you could change your mind. Not, but you know what I'm saying.
That's right, Alan. Suddenly I could start calling Sunday night football, but that's not going to happen either. So, look, here's the toughest thing about it. And yeah, they're going to have to buy Mark out. I don't blame him. I've heard a few people say, he should walk away. Who's going to walk away from $40 million? Nobody in their right mind. Are you kidding? People have said things to me for free. They won't pay me $40 million. I'll stand down on Main Street and you can throw stuff at me, So, Mark knows the deal. Here's the dilemma for me. He needs to change. I don't know if he can. I don't know if he'll ever go with an offense.
He's not going to. He basically said that today.
Oh, well, he just can't do it. It's his Achilles heel. It's his blind spot. He just can't do it. Even in their very good years, they didn't have what you call an exciting offense always. Like I still say, Lynn Bowden was probably the most exciting quarterback in the Stoops era. I think you could argue that he would be, and certainly successful. And he wasn't even a quarterback. So, that kind of sums up UK's offense. I would say right now, because I'm not big on let's get rid of these people, let's fire these people. I don't know if there's any way you can change Mark's mind. And maybe he wants out and maybe he wants to buy out. And I think people will cough up the money to buy him out.
You really think they'll come up with $38 million if this turns out to be a disaster? Seriously, Kenny? Kenny, that's a lot of shekels.
Well, there's a lot of money. There's more money than people realize. And, that was always the toughest thing. I remember one time back in my HD Net days, I did a game at Morehead State. They were in the College Basketball Invitational when Kenneth Fareed played.
The great CBI, and Fareed was a stud rebounder.
And remember, the next year they upset Louisville. In the NCAA tournament, because that's what the CBI did back then. They looked at kind of up-and-coming teams or teams that had injuries and had excuses. So now the whole point of this is the crew all stayed over in Lexington, okay? And, they got per diem, the deal when you're on the road. And they were all saying to me, when we're over at Morehead calling the game, go, man, it's expensive. We went out and ate last night in Lexington. And because there is that, I said, Lexington is a weird little town like that. There's a lot of money in this town for its size.
Yep.
And people think, give me a $60 per day per diem and I'll eat like a king. Well, you'll buy one decent good meal at probably a restaurant you and I frequent, and it's going to be a nice meal, but you're not going to be able to go into like these places and eat for like $25 at a great dinner. And, they were just stunned. Lexington was a pretty expensive little city. And right on par, maybe even past Louisville and Cincinnati. And having said all that, Alan, the point is there is money in this town. There are people that will put up the money if they really get excited about it and buy Mark out. And then the real question is, then who comes in? First off, it's like the old Groucho Marx line. I don't want to be a member of any club that would have me.
Yes, I love that line.
It's a great line. So if you're that up-and-coming coach, say at a place like New Orleans, there's a place down there, they wear green and white. Let's say you're down there. And, okay, you got ties to this state and everything, but they come to you and you go, for my future, I'm a hot young coach. My future is not going to be at Kentucky. I can't come in there and turn that thing around. I'm going to come in and do kind of what Mark Stoops has done. I'm going to have a solid program, granted, not the last 2 years, but prior to these last couple of years, and throw the first 2 years away when he's trying to, eradicate what Joker Phillips had pretty much destroyed. He had a really nice career at Kentucky. You put those like 7-8 seasons in between it. He had a terrific career by Kentucky standards. So I just don't see, you're going to have to get an assistant coach, a mid-major head coach. There's not going to be an established head coach at a major that's going to come in here ever. And so that's going to be the toughest part. Then who do you get? Because everybody think, Summerall, he'll come. Why? If I'm in his position and that Florida job's probably coming open and a few other jobs are coming open, I'm thinking I want to go to a place where I can win, where I can be on the national scene. I'll never be on the national scene at Kentucky. Maybe every 5 years or so, but do you think I can compete in the SEC at Kentucky? Vanderbilt has now passed Kentucky. Kentucky is the doormat of the SEC. And I don't think there's not a Terry Francona type out there that's going to revive it enough to make it take great strides. The only thing that's going to happen is they have a come to Jesus meeting with Stoops and say, you got to get an offense going. If you can promise me that you're going to focus on offense and you're going to promise me that you're going to realize you got to get an offensive line in there because, He was fortunate. The late John Schlarman put together a terrific SEC-worthy offensive line. That hasn't happened since then. He's not able to get the Benny Snells and the Josh Allens that kind of snuck under everybody's radar. And, I just don't. It's just Kentucky, Alan. You mentioned like when I did start 500 years ago at 36. It sucked back then. So now we're talking like a 40-year gap. It ain't changed. My late great father saw Bear Bryant's teams play, and since then it hasn't changed very much. They've had moments. So to get real, buy Mark out, give him his $40 million, and then good luck finding a good coach that wants to come in. You may get lightning in a bottle, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think you'll get a guy that'll be okay. You'll be okay.
Sorry for stepping on it, Kenny. Let me throw a couple things at you. For people who are saying it's Stoops' fault, I say, one, it's Mitch's fault because he gave him the contract. Two, it's the president's fault, and I've said this before, because ain't nobody getting that kind of contract without the president, as you know, giving rubber stamp. You know whose fault it is? It's the damn board's fault because they didn't stop it either. So my point is this. You want to be mad at Stoops? That's okay, but this doesn't happen without the president saying yes. Nobody throws anything at him. This doesn't happen with Mitch advising the president that he wants it done and the president trusting Mitch and have it done. And the board could have gone against it and they did not. Here's my point. And you've seen this. You've been around a long time before Grecian formula.
And you should think about it. Look at me. Look at me. Right, Jimmy? Look at me.
Actually, I put that stuff in my hair years ago and I made it pitch black.
Well, you got to leave it in there for a while.
Well, I'm not very smart about these things. And I did my mustache too. It was probably late. So now I come in as pitch black and my desk was all the way on the right side. So I had to walk across the newsroom. And as I'm walking across, it took a couple seconds. The whole damn newsroom stopped. And you could feel everybody. Normally, I don't care if somebody stares at me, but I was not comfortable with this one. When I got to my desk, and I turned around, everybody's looking at me, and I just went, and Mary Jo was laughing. I went, shut up! Everybody started laughing, sat down, move on. It's not the first time I did it, but I did it probably 3 or 4 times, and I didn't do it after that. It looked, thank God there's no pictures of it, at least not that I know of. It was really bad. Okay, so, yeah, but see, you get away with it. I wouldn't get away with it. You get away with it. There are some guys that get away with it. You do.
Here, most of it's right here.
So what?
Actually, on top, I'm still pretty good. But see, I got no worries, Alan. I don't worry about this. I don't care. I don't care if Kentucky never wins another football game. It don't change. My life don't change.
Okay, hang with me a second. I want to ask you. You be the deciding factor in this. The other thing I want
to do, by the way, I like Stoops. I hope they win, but they're not going to. We know that.
Yeah, and I know you like Stoops, and you've said it before in different audiences. So I'm glad you said it again. Yeah. You throw 2 things at you. You know this is true, and this is what I blame Mitch. Like Stoops today said, this is what we are. This is what we do. We don't have an explosive. Everybody else can fill in the blanks. I'm the AD. You know what I'm doing? Mark, I like you. You've done a lot of great things. All those bowl games in a row. Some of them wins. You created some excitement. You got to change. Here's the deal. Maybe Bush could do this, and I don't know because he's doing basically what he's told. So I'm not just negating Bush. Maybe not, but I think he can. Neither here nor there. You're going to run a wide open offense.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to do because this is not working. Because one of the reasons why the wideouts aren't very good, because why would a 5-star wideout come here if you're not from the state of Kentucky when you know you're not going to throw the damn ball?
Well,
that's why we have running back. So I blame Mitch.
Yeah.
I blame Mitch. I blame Mitch. I blame Mitch. I blame Mitch. He can sit down with him quietly, professionally, not scream to the media as he likes to do things. But he's got thin skin as far as I'm concerned. Say, Mark, this is not working. I don't want to get rid of you. I'm not threatening you, but you are going to change your offense. How many times have you seen it? Come on, when you were back at TVQ, where a coach is on his last legs and they fire all the assistants so he keeps his job. I'm not saying fire Bush. I'd be curious, and I bet he can, by the way, because he was a quarterback, and the people in Idaho say he's a really smart guy, and I think he's been horribly frustrated here, and the people that are mad at him, I think there's more in his tank, but he's doing what the hell he's told to do and what he agreed to do. He tripled his salary here, on his way to hopefully, for his sake, becoming a head coach. At the end of the year, whatever this is, I would give Stoops another chance. I'd have the check in my back pocket and say, Mark, you got to change. You got to change. And this offense isn't working. And I'm not saying you have to be mummy ball, but I'm saying go get wideouts, go throw the ball around, go be modern. Nick Saban changed. Why the hell can't Mark Stoops change?
Well, Mark Stoops is no Nick Saban.
Oh,
oh
you're a wise, you know what?
That was a fun. No,
oh, Haymaker back by Kenny Rice. Film at 11.
You know what? But you're exactly right on all this. First off,
hold it, Jimmy, 123. Put that in the open tomorrow.
Alan Cutler was right.
No. You said exactly right, Jimmy. Would you please be kind enough to stick that in the open tomorrow?
Clock it, Jimmy.
Duly noted.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I'm about to have a heart attack. Jimmy said, "Duly noted."
Yes, anyone that criticizes Mark Stoops for taking the money should not be allowed to be on the airways or write for any publications. They should not. Because the guy that gave him the money, if somebody, hey, my boss wants to give me money that I think is a little bit above what I should be making, you think I'm going to say, no, please keep it. Please keep that money. Donate it to charity in my name. No, it's not happening. So they're going to say, Mark, we're going to double your salary. We're not going to tell anybody about it. We're going to sneak it in the back door just as you're losing to Vanderbilt. Why wouldn't he take the money? But Mitch has a track record, and I got nothing against Mitch. I like Mitch. I mean, we talk MMA when we run into each other. You know, he knows the sport. But yeah, I mean, he and the board and the president, they're all the ones culpable. It's not Stoops for taking the money. That's Stoops' fault for not adjusting his offense and making some game-changing plans. That's on Stoops. But for giving him the money, that's not on him. You know, I mean, I got to be honest. Mitch has a nice career. He hired Billy Gillispie and Joker Phillips, and he's still here. Most places that wouldn't fly.
He would have been fired. I've said this many times. If he was the Alabama coach, let me throw this at you. The second worst thing about Stoops' contract, and I said at the time, it made no sense to give him the extension because if he wants to leave for a better job, God bless. Then you know what? At that time, if he would have left, the job would have been more attractive to a lot of other people. Yeah. I'm not going to be insecure about Calipari leaving. I'm not going to be insecure about Stoops leaving. If you really want to go someplace else, first of all, the Calipari to UCLA was BS because UCLA was never going to pay him what he was making here. That you talk about, that was a con job. It was an absolute con job unless he wanted to go to Hollywood. And John Calipari has never given up more money. I'm not blaming him. The second part of the extension, you know what is unbelievably stupid? And I mean stupid. He's got to get his $38 million within 90 days. Why the hell would UK agree to that? You know what I want? My brother's a lawyer. I love you, bro. I want Stoops' agent to represent me. Not that I do anything to be represented for. That's unbelievable. To get $38 million in 90 days. I mean, it's not. You suppose you could pay somebody $1 million a month for 38 months or something like that. Yeah. You know, that kind of deal. Well, actually, UK could afford it a lot easier when you slip it into a budget and that kind of thing. And maybe he would agree to that. I could see somebody agreeing to that. Wouldn't give up a blessed penny if I'm Stoops. And the people that are saying, "Oh, because he's so bad, he should give the money back or take less." No, they shouldn't. Those people are out of their minds.
What about the people who've done work for us over the years? I'm not talking about recently. You hire somebody, they do a halfway job, you still paid them. They didn't get my money back. We weren't talking millions either. You hire a handyman or something. And all these people then suddenly give him the money back. If Mark wasn't making $9 million, the heat wouldn't be on him as much. Oh, there'd be complaints.
Oh, no. If he was making $3 million, people would still complain.
They would complain, but I don't think they would as much now. And another thing, and I'm glad you brought up Calipari. The worst comparison ever when they said, well, look, Calipari, it worked out. It was time for him to go. John Calipari took over a program that was a national powerhouse, perennial national powerhouse. He didn't take over the situation that Pitino did, where Pitino pretty much resurrected things. But there was a big stumbling block there where Kentucky was teetering. They could have become Indiana in a couple more years without a drastic change.
Or worse.
Yeah, and Calipari came in and changed it like that with that incredible recruiting class followed by another. So John Calipari inherited a major college powerhouse, and he made it even better for a long time. Mark Stoops inherited one of the worst teams in the Southeastern Conference, one of the worst programs in the Southeastern Conference, and he brought respectability to it. He never competed, nor was anybody expecting him to compete for a national title, as they were every year with Calipari, and rightfully so. You can't compare basketball to football here. So But you know what? There was another thing there. Remember, who would give John a lifetime contract for all he did? Even who would give him a lifetime contract? There's been some contracts thrown out over there that I guarantee if the School of Business would study them, they'd say, don't ever give any of your employees a contract like this. Not talking about the money, but like,
that's a really good
but you're doing a great job for me. You're a great accountant. You're a lifetime guarantee here. You can work here the next 15, 20 years. You just don't have these kind of contracts. I wish I could get a lifetime contract. Mine's been year to year for the last couple of years.
You can have a lifetime contract doing the show as long as I'm here, but the pay isn't very good.
I know, and you pay me within 14 hours.
Hey, Cut, you going to make cookies for Kenny?
Hey, by the way, Judy, I love you. Hi, Judy.
Hey, Cut, Judy. Hey, Cut, Kenny just threw a kiss at you, said he loves you.
I have to do that. You know that.
Yeah, I thought she was in the next room. Maybe she took off.
I would be remiss. You know that. I always do that.
And I will tell her you said that. I promise.
Yeah, Al, I think they should keep Stoops, and I will qualify it, just like you said. I think we're on the same page on this. You call him in, you set him down, say, this is it. I mean, we cannot have another excuse. And I want you to get a general manager. I want you to get somebody to go out there and find the next Pavia that's, setting the world on fire down at Vanderbilt. I don't know. That's your job to find these people. Y'all are making $1 million, your assistants. You're supposed to be able to find these people. If you pay Cutler and me $1 million each, I guarantee we'll find somebody like that. But look at how they've wasted money. And I don't want to knock the kid that came in. I mean, you're coming in from Incarnate Wood. Of course, you're going to come to an SEC school when offered. But again, why? You know what? Mark kind of falls in love with people like Mitch falls in love with coaches. Mark has a tendency to fall in love with these quarterbacks. And, except for Levis, who's the last quarterback he had that stepped in here, we go, wow, well, that was good. That was good. Instead, he ought to focus on offensive line, get him some receivers, give Boley some protection. I do have faith in Boley. I think the kid showed some poise to get beat up like he did last week. And, the turnovers, he didn't crumble. He didn't have a great game, obviously, but he didn't crumble. He has some potential, but he needs some backing. He needs an offensive line. He needs some receivers. And that's what I would focus on and say, you got one more year, Mark, and that's it. Because we've got the money in hand and we will buy you out. And if that's what you want, you can go now and we'll give you your money. But if you want to stay one more year, you are the winningest coach all time here, and we'd like for you to stay. You got to make drastic changes. And you got to fall in love with the offense. This ain't Iowa. I know your hearts love, you love Iowa, but this ain't Iowa. We can't bore people to death unless we've got a great defense and we can run the ball every play, and we can't do that. So, but Jen, because who would you hire right now? Who would come in and take this Kentucky job? I mean, we'll throw names out there.
You give me your top name.
Huh?
You give me your top name.
Well, the Tulane coach, Summerall, would be the top name. I mean, that would make sense. The Kentucky ties, he's proven himself there. But again, as we saw when he played Ole Miss, there's still a big gap from that American to the SEC.
Absolutely.
It's a huge gap in talent.
But you know what? Cutter might end up being a better quarterback in the long run, but he was able to bring in the kid from BYU who today is a much better quarterback than Cutter. Cutter might be much better down the road. And so he's been able to attract people. Yeah. And look, I don't know Summerall personally.
I just know who he is. I don't know him either.
Oh, no. I'll never forget when I interviewed him the first time, you've done the same thing. You interview him, he's a really good talker, and I know you've done the same thing. Hope the kid can play because he's a really good interviewer.
I know.
He was one of those guys.
And, a guy I like and actually knew, and I know his father-in-law, we sat there at the state tournament together, Neil Brown. When Neil Brown went to West Virginia, I said, that'd be a good fit. Neil Brown will do well. He'll win at West Virginia. I kind of missed on that one, didn't I?
Well, I'm not going to rip Neil.
And I don't mean that to
No. But let me throw this at you. And it sounds like I'm homering for Neil. I love Neil. Neil is calm. I think he's wonderful.
Yeah.
Not an excuse. I think it's close to impossible to win at West Virginia because they have far fewer resources than Kentucky. I will be shocked if Rich Rod is able to win 10 games over the next 5 years in a single season.
Yeah.
It's a poor state. They don't have a lot of boosters. I think financially they're in a lot worse condition than Kentucky sports is. And so I'm not saying if Nick Saban was 15 years younger, could he win there? Yeah. Like he did at Alabama? Probably not. I mean, he'd get every recruit in the state of West Virginia, but all three of them that are good enough to play on that level, I'm exaggerating, but you know what I'm saying? I think that's now a tough place. I think what's happened is it's become even stronger about the have-nots who will slip even more, except let me be a hypocrite here a little bit. You know what's, and then please respond. You know what surprised the hell out of me? You had a very salient point. I don't know if you saw Mississippi State play Tennessee. I watched the game and I saw that they're undefeated. I'd seen the scores and stuff like that. But now I'm watching the game. And Kenny, I'm watching the game more and more. I'm going, they were awful last year. They were awful. I'm going,
yeah.
I don't study Mississippi State. You probably don't either. I'm just being honest. I'm going, where the hell did these kids come from? They were organized. They were tough. They had speed. And they were going toe for toe. And you could make a case that they blew it against Tennessee. Neither here nor there. Maybe they don't know how to win, but they took them right to the end. I'm going, okay, if Mississippi State can improve that much in 1 year, why the hell can't Kentucky? And when you said Kentucky is the worst program in the SEC, I hate to agree with you, but after I saw Mississippi State, I had the same opinion.
Jimmy Market, that's at 135.
Duly noted.
Thank you. Thank you for that. No, you know what? I mean,
resemble that remark.
This is awful. And by the way, with Neil, when I say that, I had so much. I think he's a terrific coach, but he got a bad situation over there, and it kind of surprised me. And then what you said made a lot of sense. And that's what I'm saying about any good young coach coming to Kentucky at this stage. They've got to have some guarantees from they got to have guarantees about the money. Not the money necessarily they're going to make, but the NIL deals, how that works. Look at the big picture. You got to be a general manager anymore. That's why I say I don't know why more teams don't hire general managers. You got to have somebody say, okay, here's our budget. Here's what we want. Here's how much we're going to spend on offensive linemen. Here's what we're going to spend on receiver.
I think they have that. I think Eddie Grant is doing that without the title.
Are they? Well, they're not doing a good job of it, Alan. Whoever's doing it is not doing a great job, as we see them by the people that are coming in. You know, especially now when they can come right in and play. Nobody has to sit out and all that. And, I'm looking at the guys they bring in. You know, McGowan's good. I don't know. Anybody else like jumping out there and grabbing you on offense?
I like Braun. Actually, I think they've improved on the offensive line a lot. Not as good as the big blue wall. But what I said in the monologue, I stand by. Cutler had a bad game. So what? Okay, so what? But you know what disappointed me more than Cutler? Thought the offensive line stunk. And Stoops even said the tackles weren't very good. And I was more disappointed in the offensive line, not because I'm homering for Cutler. Kenny, was it number 4 or number 5? Maybe Jimmy remembers, but I saw a stat and I used it weeks and weeks ago. Whatever it is, they were in the top 5 nationally. I know a lot of these guys came from New Mexico State and stuff like that. Everybody knows that kind of thing. But as far as most experienced offensive line with starts, plus a lot of these guys are old, so they've been lifting weights longer. I didn't think they'd be the best line in the conference and stuff like that. But
respectable.
When you watch Alabama and you see how their feet move together, and you see that Simpson has all that time to throw, I'm not saying that Cutler can be Simpson, although all of a sudden he's blossoming into a star very quickly. But I have to wonder how good Cutler would have been Saturday. He still probably would have been nervous. How comfortable he would have been if he played behind Alabama's offensive line. I'm serious, and I'm not trying to rip anybody.
No, well, it's true, though. I mean, the line looked awful. And he looked awful because the line looked awful. I mean, the kid didn't have hardly any time to throw. And he made some mistakes early, and naturally that shook his confidence a little bit. But he's on his butt most of the time. So, I mean, these are things. How many times have we said this? You got to win with the line. You got to have an offensive, defensive line. You can have all the Randall Cobbs and Benny Snells and everybody else that passes through here, and that's wonderful. Terrific players. Cobb, one of the greatest ever to play here. But you got to have offensive linemen. I will say this about Hal Mummy's system. The offensive line was so-so. It was okay. If you look back, how many passes did Tim Couch throw over like 25 yards? Most of the time, Tim's passes were quick hitters to Keough Sanford and Craig East.
It was so accurate with a tight spiral.
And it was great. And they did the work afterwards. And he did that too, much like when Patino came here and he pressed the whole time because he didn't have a real quick team, the team that he inherited, okay? And I like those guys. But, like Pelfrey and Feldhouse and Farmer, they weren't going to be burning it up and down the court. But, you know, if you continue to hustle and get in people's faces, you can disguise some defensive weaknesses. And that's what Patino did brilliantly with the press.
Yes, he did.
And I think Mummy did it brilliantly with an okay offensive line, not the worst, but an okay offensive line. They didn't have to really set up for a whole lot of pass blocking. Tim didn't have to live in the pocket. He had such a quick release and a strong arm that he could take, you know, he could basically like have a pistol, come back, you know, 2 or 3 steps, fire a little flat or throw it down on the sideline. And these guys did the rest most of the time. And, you know, Kentucky could make some, they got to adapt some, but this, and that's hurting Mark right now. He needs a good PR person. I hope he's listening because I do like him a lot. He can't be saying, well, you know, we're still sticking with it. Why don't you say, you know what, we got to make some changes because it ain't like it's getting easier. You know, I know Georgia and Texas are pretty much gimme wins for Kentucky, but it'll be tougher after those two. You know, I mean, really, you got to, I would, you know, the season's over. They had to, if you can't get through September better than they got through September, they'll play the rest of the year. And people will complain, and they'll show up and freeze, and they'll talk about basketball season. I guess they already are. But Mark should say, you know, we got to make some changes, and I take the blame. I'm not going to take the blame for taking $9 million. That was offered me, and I accepted it. But I will take the blame for the way this thing's going, and we're going to rectify some things. We're going to work harder with the offensive line. We're going to tweak the offense and work with that. But you got to say that stuff. You know, you got to try to win a little support now because people are not going to want you back maybe by the end of this year, much less next year. And I just hope that they don't get blown. I hope they don't get humiliated like Arkansas did against Notre Dame the other day. You know, I mean, I just hope Kentucky gets through Georgia and gets through Texas without total humiliation.
Or without 8 guys being hurt, and now you're playing kids that shouldn't have to play. Let me throw this at you. I want to do one more football thing, and then we're going to change the topic. We're going to do a little Reds so we can smile a little bit. Okay. I gave this a lot of thought. I also know I don't remember every quarter and every game. And come on, you and I sat through so many really bad Kentucky games. The example I use, I don't think you were gone then. I always forget when you left, but the 2 years in a row, Kentucky lost to Tennessee by a combined score of 100-0. I'm not going to look it up. One year was 52-0. The other was 48-0. I don't remember which was which. We've seen so many bad games. But in my opinion, from the best of my memory, and Kenny, I want your opinion, you got to take the cobwebs off. The second quarter against South Carolina is the worst quarter that I can ever remember Kentucky playing, with the 4 turnovers in a quarter and giving away 21 points. It was a comedy of errors. It was awful. It was a joke. And then the second thing I want to ask you, and then we're going to go on, you answer, and then we'll go on to baseball. Do you think Kentucky got punked?
No, I don't. I think
you don't think they got punked?
No.
Okay.
No, you know it. And I'm trying to think, you know, that has to be, I don't know if I would say it's the worst, but it's in the top 5. In 100 years, it's in the top 5. We've seen
you know what? You've aged well if you go back 100 years.
I mean, gosh, we've seen some of the worst. And, you know, people, you know, I talked to Mark early on. He asked me, this is like when I first met him a dozen years ago. I guess it is now. He said he was surprised that, you know, the fan base, how enthusiastic they are, but, you know, they had all these reservations still a little skeptical. And I started saying, you know, I could go down the list. You know, Dorian catching the ball at the end zone as time expired and Florida averts the upset. Marty Moore, who's one of the better linemen they ever had, what runs out of the end zone, and why he did it, I don't know, but that's not to knock Marty. He's a terrific player. It was just one of those moments. Okay.
Right. Great linebacker, great dude.
And really one of the best guys out there. And I wish I had not mentioned his name and just said, remember when they fumbled it against Clemson. So sorry, Marty, because you're a great guy. But, you know, things like that, it does seem, I swear, things happen to Kentucky. And I think I told you this. I'm out in Los Angeles. Dad and I are watching the game over the phone together. And he said this, and you know him well enough that you know, when they poured the Gatorade over Guy Morris, when they're beating LSU.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly where I was standing.
He said, well, that's premature. And I said, oh, come on. You know, it's too sad.
Said that. Rag said that at that moment.
He did. And you know him well enough.
Yeah, he had an intuitive nature. Your dad had an intuitive nature about himself, as I've got to know him the last couple of years. That was uncanny.
Yeah. And it was, he said, Well, that was premature. I said, oh, come on, Dad, there's no way. Really, I think this is the one time. And see, you know, we're on a delay naturally. He goes, well, yep, look here. And they're lining up when he's saying, look here. And I'm not seeing it. He said, what did I tell you? And by the time he said, what did I tell you? The ball's in flight. And then I'm watching it, you know, on about a 7-second delay. And I go, yeah, I get it. He said, yeah, I think we've seen almost every conceivable way to lose now. I said, yeah, I think this might have iced the cake of losing, is the way they lost the LSU. And then you look at how many times the almost, the what ifs, the late great Jerry Claiborne, the old ifing game. What if? That would be Kentucky's motto. My motto for Kentucky would be fourth and perpetual long, or what if? You know, that's Kentucky football.
All right, let's switch to the Reds. Jimmy, would you cue up Tito's celebration and Brett Suter? We're going to play one, then Kenny and I will talk, and then we got to play the Suter thing, because if you haven't heard it, Kenny, this is really, really, really good stuff. Tito has changed the culture in that locker room. Spectacular. Some of his moves on a daily basis I don't like, but how he's changed that locker room is unbelievable. He changed the culture. Here is Tito, and then Kenny, I want you to respond. This is a short clip. This is Tito in the locker room as he's telling the guys, have a good time. Congratulations. Here it is.
Everybody in this room, everybody in this room, we have been through more and they can't kill us.
How cool is that?
And that's what makes him special. You know, there's guys, I tweeted out the other day, you know, I mean, like Saban comes to mind, Krzyzewski, you know, Pitino. I give Pitino credit on that. Pat Riley was that way. There's these guys that have that it thing. Joe Torre was that way. And as Tito, you know, I don't know exactly how they do it, but he knows when to change that lineup. He knows when to encourage players. And as you know, Alan, you've been around it too, a long time, covering the Bengals and all too. You've got these guys that some guys just have it. And that's what makes some of these coaches and managers worth the money they pay them is whatever they do it well. And all year long, look at how he moved that lineup around, you know, constantly, little changes here and little there. The way he worked his pitching staff, using the bullpen, which kept getting better and gotten more confidence as the season went along. That's what makes Frank, well, he's going in the Hall of Fame. We know that. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And what a great move by Cincinnati, because they usually don't make these type of moves to bring in a guy like that can change change the whole mindset. And that's the thing, is having that mindset. We can do this. And the way they played near the end, except for the Guardians, you know, there was nobody, I think, doing anything better at the end of the season of the regulation.
Oh, the Braves were, but they were out of, you know, with them winning 10 in a row meant nothing. They couldn't get it. So I agree with you. What the Indians did. Sorry, I still call him Indian Guardian. It was unbelievable. And I counted the Reds out. Okay, I want to play this Brent Suter thing. He's from Cincinnati, does great impersonations, and he went nuts. This is courtesy of Fox 19. And Kenny, I want you to respond. Here is Brent Suter talking to Fox 19 in Cincinnati.
Everybody, we are now back live inside the Reds clubhouse, and we are with Brent Suter. Okay, this has to be so special for you, a guy who's from Cincinnati, experiencing this moment. Can you describe it?
I mean, lifelong Reds fan here, to be a part of this group of guys that never quit. I mean, the resilience is off the charts. We love each other in this room. There's a chemistry, there's a culture that I've not been a part of something like this. And I'm so excited for Reds country. We're doing it! We're in the dance! Let's go!
Yes! You were 6 games back just a couple of weeks ago. How did you do this?
We just kept believing in each other. That's all we said. We said one game at a time. Took it from our manager, Tito. He said, hey, that hurts. We're on to the next one. We're on to the next one. We're there. We're here. Every day was a new day. And we stayed true to each other. We stayed true to the game, and we freaking got rewarded. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Let's go.
You said, you can't kill us. That became the mantra of this group, and you lived it here in September.
Absolutely. We call ourselves the cockroaches. Just can't kill us, man. Yes, I mean, we just kept fighting. We kept fighting. Obviously, some other things had to happen too, but we kept fighting. We kept pulling out huge wins after huge wins. This group rallied together. We had guys going 4 days in a row, guys playing hurt, and we did it. And I'm so proud of our guys. So happy for Reds Nation. And let's get it done, baby. Let's get it done in the next round, one day at a time.
You are live with a lot of Reds fans watching back in Cincinnati. If you have one message you want to send to your fan base, what is that message?
Thank you for sticking with us, and keep sticking with us a little longer, baby. How about another month? Let's go, Red Nation! Yes!
And he does great impersonations too, by the way. I'm sure you've heard him. So let me throw this at you. Green pitches tomorrow night.
Yeah.
He's got extra rest. The last week or so, he had an extra rest before his last start. He recently pitched a 9-inning complete game. As you know,
rare
pitching is everything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to upset the Dodgers, but I'm saying if their starting pitching lives up to what they've been doing, it's not crazy to think that they won't get swept and maybe they can sneak a game so they can get back to Cincinnati.
Well, I think if I were still in the betting thing, I would bet Cincinnati to win the series. I don't think they're going to, but I think that's a logical bet. You don't want to go crazy about it. But that's one of those bets where you think, they might. The bullpen's been coming through. The whole attitude has changed tremendously. And, maybe they'll catch the Dodgers briefly back on their heel. If Green wins tomorrow, they've got a shot. It's a long shot, but it's a shot I think worth taking because of the way the Reds have come in, even though they lost the last game, so did the Mets. But the way that they've been playing recently, I think you have to give them a chance. Not a Jim Carrey, 1 in a million chance, but a little more of a legitimate chance. Maybe 20-1, but still, long shot, a live long shot, I believe, going into the playoffs.
You've won more on the racetrack on 21 shots than that. You know what? I don't even know what the DraftKings odds are of that. I would suggest it's probably even higher, but honestly, I don't have any idea.
It probably is. Last good bet I made was that the Reds would win the World Series in 1990 against the A's. They were underdog.
I cried when they won in 4 games. You want to know why? Because I was the NBC correspondent and was doing the feed for them.
Right.
And so I wanted the Reds to win in 7.
7.
And one day they took 5 feeds for me. It made no sense at all.
Yeah.
And you got paid for each one. So when they won in 4 games, it cost me a lot of money. And I was very, 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 very sad because, the feed was what paid the bills.
Hey, I'm with you on that. I've been in that position a few times. All you young broadcasters out there, remember, it is a business. It's nice to get excited and, fall in love. My first job, hey, way to go. But it is a business, like you say. And I never seen when I was doing the college basketball invitational long ago, for Cuban, working for him. I got paid per game. So I always wanted the series to go, it's best of 3. I always wanted it to go 3. I didn't want anybody to win it back to back. I want to do 3 games.
One I understand, most broadcasters in major league teams get paid by the game. Marty got paid by the game even at the very end. Tom Leach has talked about how he gets paid by the game, those kinds of things. We got 30 seconds. Last comment on UK football or sports, whatever floats your boat, anything but Grecian formula.
Give a shot to, Stoops has to make some concessions and he has to do a little contrition with the fans. I think he's worth one more shot. Perhaps if you go see a movie coming out this week called The Smashing Machine, the life of the great MMA fighter Mark Kerr, starring The Rock and Emily Blunt, you might recognize a voice calling a fight about 30 or 40 seconds into the movie.
So you really are in the movie. See, I thought there was somebody else named. Oh my gosh, I introduced you wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, he's no longer just NBC Sports. He's no longer just a big-time sportscaster. We got to go. I'm sorry we're doing this again. You're now a movie stud.
Well, like for 30 or 40 seconds, my voice talking about the first fight of Mark Kerr as a pro that established his career. And it's early on in the movie. And when I was doing it, Benny Safdie, who's like the hot young director, terrific guy. He was so nice. He was in New York. I was actually here in Kentucky cutting the voiceover, and he would talk to me and directed me. It was a great experience.
Would you talk about that next week? I really thought it was a joke, and I was joking back with you.
No.
A movie star.
Movie credit. I'll get a little movie credits, with about 89 other people, okay?
I guess we need to trade chocolate chip cookies from Judy for your autograph. What do you think?
I can arrange that, yeah.
Yeah, bet you. It's pretty good.
My people will call you.
Bless you, brother. Hey.
Anytime.
I miss Rags. I know you do too. I probably should stop saying it, but I loved your dad, and he was the best, and thank you for joining me. And I'm not trying to get you emotional. This just came out of my mouth.
No, and you know how he felt about you, and he always had such a fun job doing this show. And, my life has changed forever, and I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. I was very blessed to have him as long as I did. But it does change when the relationship we had, and anybody's had a good father-son relationship can relate, that didn't even have it as long as I had. So I'm blessed that we had it a long time. Maybe it makes it hurt just a little longer because it was such a long run.
You're lucky and blessed. Kenny, thank you, brother. I
Thank
appreciate you. Hey, we got to figure out a Saturday.
Yeah, we will. Maybe just quit going to UK football games. Yeah, for your health, Alan, for your health.
Thanks, Kenny.
Anytime, pal. Thank you.
The great Kenny Rice, now movie star. We're late, but I got to tell you, Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, acupuncture. I'll see Ramon today, now also providing a licensed massage therapist, but it's acupuncture, and he's great. He's helped me out tremendously on Versailles Road. Please check him out. Can you hear, I know we got to go, can you hear the lawnmower in the background?
I cannot.
Oh, but it overpowered my ears. It kind of threw me off. It's outside our house, and I was worried about it being on the air. Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914. Brad Tell coming up next. Matthew and Jimmy at 10. I'll be back at noon. Thank you. Have a great day. Alan Cutler, 1300